Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy RJ Elite. You already know what it is. Soul Rider X is in the building. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, RJ fans? Thanks for having me on the channel.
No problem, no problem. So today, for all my wrestling fans out there, we're gonna do this year in wrestling 2017. Sorry, a review.
I was about to say, if it was 2007, it'd be a different year, man.
Yeah, pretty much. A year in review of everything that's happened. We're gonna break it down month by month for you. Go over some news, and then at the end, uh, go ahead and give you a list of what we think would be match of the year, um, wrestler of the
Just our
year.
overall thoughts,
Yeah,
kind of,
pretty
how the
much.
year was as a whole.
Exactly. So, um, the month of
Year started
January.
off pretty strong, I think.
Yeah, it really did. It pretty much really did.
You
Um,
know?
it's hard to remember because of everything that's happened, but just
Oh,
looking
yeah,
back.
there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in 2017.
Oh yeah.
And if the build up at the end of 2017 that's leading in 2018, 2018 is going to be amazing.
Yes, very much so. So, kick it off with one of the match of the year candidates at Wrestle Kingdom 11, um,
Well,
Okada versus Omega.
there you go. The match that broke Dave Meltzer's rating scale.
Pretty much.
That was the headline for everything out of that match. Was this was the match that broke the rating scale, and it damn well deserved it.
Yes, it did. Um, just going over like the aspects of the match, it's definitely one-on-one wrestling. The
Oh
way
yeah,
they did it. Like I went back and watched it yesterday and was just like the only thing that did it for me that didn't do it for me was the commentating from Kevin Kelly, and I forgot who the other
yeah.
person was. Like they did not make the match seem exciting at all. So at
No,
one
they
point I
didn't.
just stopped
That's
and did my own
that's my
commentary.
one problem with New Japan. It's my biggest problem with even NXT to a degree is the commentary team. Like the matches and the action itself is great.
Yes,
It's the commentary team that isn't really that level of greatness.
right.
You know,
But
like
just turning down the volume and looking at that for myself, man,
it's
what a
still a great
what
match.
a
Like it's
spectacle.
still one that I can still watch over and over and over again and be like, oh shit, okay, woo.
Yeah, the last 10 minutes of the match, like, it's just counter for counter. And the story that they built it off of was Omega trying to hit the one winged angel on
Wing
him for
Angel.
so
I know.
long, and he just could not do it. Like Okada had a counter for it every time.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that people say why people say Okada is probably the best in the world right now, and it's matches like this at Wrestle Kingdom 12 that pretty much back that up.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Well.
Moving on from that, you then over on the state side you have the first ever UK tournament,
Yes. Um.
which that was actually really good. I'm actually was surprised, shocked when they had first announced that.
Yeah, me too, man. Triple H is doing big things, trying to incorporate everything from overseas and all that type of stuff like that, which I can appreciate. It. It's just
I can too.
you just have to be able to put it on a grander scale rather than bringing it over for just that cheap pop, and then next thing you know, it's it's gone. It's mid card or whatever the case may be because you
Yeah,
still
I
got
know.
other people running it, running the business. Vince McMahon talking about you.
Triple H to me has always been kind of weird because it's like when it comes to like SmackDown and Raw, we're supposed to hate him. Like we're just like he's the worst, he's the authority. Then if you look at stuff at like NXT or the Classic or this UK tournament, he's like the god who saved wrestling.
Right.
Which that to me has it's always kind of been that breaking of character of like, how are you going to tell me in one day, hey, he's evil, he's the authority, you should hate him, but literally an hour later on the network, he's the god that saved wrestling.
Exactly.
That's my biggest problem with Triple H right now. If like he permanently stayed out of the picture, I'd be okay with that. You know?
Well, it's another one of those things. There's cheap pops, and we'll get into that later on
Oh
as
yeah.
we get further into this review. But were you happy with the outcome with Tyler Bate beating Pete Dunne out?
Yeah, I was, and I was even more happy once they kind of did the rematch for the belt at NXT, because that to me, for what people consider to be match of the year, that was great.
Yeah.
I love that match. I'll still go back and I'll still watch that match to this day. Rounding out January, you have TakeOver San Antonio, which Bobby Roode debuted, the glorious one.
Yeah.
And then just the Rumble, which the Rumble I liked for the only one thing I really liked about the Rumble was the Cena versus Styles match.
Right.
Like the actual Rumble itself, I really wasn't a fan for. I was more invested in the Cena versus Styles match because that was a great match.
Well, the Rumble itself, they didn't have any returns.
No, they didn't have any returns.
There were no pops, and especially
No.
at the end. The funniest thing about the Rumble was watching like the reactions from people on YouTube.
Oh God, yes. When Reigns came in as number 30, everybody just said, "Man, fuck this company. I'm done."
It was so hilarious, but
It was great.
that.
It's like
I don't-
you
I-
knew it's like this. What kills me is like y'all know if Roman hasn't shown up, they're trying to push Roman down our throats. Like they're trying to make him seem like he is going to be the top guy, which leads into WrestleMania 34, which we'll get into that. And 33. They're trying to push Roman of being the top guy. So everyone's thinking, oh, it's going to be this guy. It's going to be a return. No, it's Roman. Like, it's Roman, guys.
It's crazy. I don't
You
understand it. Hey, going back to NXT Takeover, we had saw Bobby Roode at what Takeover was that? Bobby
That
Roode
was San Antonio.
When he first showed up in the crowd.
Oh, shit. I don't know. It's been such a long time.
I think it was whatever one they had matched up against Survivor Series, but I can't remember what it was. It may have been the one in Canada, Toronto.
Probably. It was. I keep wanting to say Chicago, but I don't think it was Chicago.
No, it wasn't Chicago.
No.
Chicago was from this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it might have been Toronto. But yeah, it's when he first showed up in the crowd.
The hype surrounding all of that, though.
That
seeing
was
him, and then they had segments like during the NXT shows where he was backstage and like going into the office with William Regal and working out a deal. So it
Yeah.
was just a huge pop right there for me seeing him come over, and I was just
Well-
wondering why. And this is off topic, but I was wondering why James Storm would even go back to Impact Wrestling, knowing that all of your buddies that were over there were pretty much coming over to WWE. Why didn't
I don't know, and it's especially weird now that you know that James Storm has asked for his contract to be released, so he's a free agent now, so he could come back to NXT, which begs the question: why did you even go back to Impact in the first place?
Exactly.
Like him as Beer Money with Bobby Roode was one of the best heel tag teams they had in Impact.
Yes, it
You
was.
know.
Yes, it was.
So have him come back over to NXT, sure, let it be a bit, but then eventually when he jumps to the main roster, first of all, I don't like the fact that Rude is still a babyface. Turn him heel already. Okay, Bobby Roode works best when he's a heel. Okay,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it.
But- but if James Storm does come back, it would be it's going to be interesting to eventually see them reform something like Beer Money.
Yeah, it would be. It really would. Be.
But that's hoping.
Yeah. What do you think about Neville's run as King of the Cruiserweights?
I liked it. I really did. It actually made me interested in the cruiserweights, which was shocking because let's be honest, a lot of people didn't give a shit about the cruiserweights. So when you had someone like Neville win, it kind of brought people over and like, oh hey, the cruiserweights, they're actually something to worth watch.
Yeah, I agree totally. Like you was lacking that star power. You brought all these
Yeah.
people from the Cruiserweight Classic that people really didn't care about
No.
outside of the Cruiserweight Classic. Because let's face it, the same people that watch the Cruiserweight Classic were the same people that are fans of NXT.
Yeah.
It wasn't people, the casual fan from the main
No,
roster.
it wasn't. And don't get me wrong, the Cruiserweight Classic was good. There was a lot of really good matches in the Cruiserweight Classic, but you needed that kind of star power to just kind of bump over there, and adding Neville to it kind of gave it that gravitas of, no, this is something to be taken seriously. You know?
Well, moving into February, the only thing
Just
that really happened was Bray
the chamber.
Wyatt winning the WWE title in the Elimination Chamber match.
I feel bad for Bray Wyatt. He's had a very bad year. And you wouldn't have known that if you had looked at the beginning of the year of him winning the title, of you actually thinking they're going to do something with Wyatt. And then you kind of realize, no, they're not. They're not. It sucks because he's a great worker. He's one of the best workers they have.
Yes.
You know?
I've been a fan for Bray Wyatt since they showed up in NXT.
Yeah, it's Husky Harris.
I don't
I still love the fact that WWE tries to make us act like the members that were of the original Nexus, like, you know, Skip as Ryback and whatnot. It's like, oh, don't call yourself Bray Wyatt. I remember when you were Husky Harris, okay? All right. Like, let's be honest here.
main roster, all the fans are chanting Husky Harris.
Yeah, I know. That's great.
Yeah, you would think people would give them more respect. Just coming in, get your dad's. I mean, I know IRS didn't do too much, but he's still a legend in the business.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, that was the only thing that really happened in February. There was really
It was Wyatt's win of the title, which they didn't really do anything with.
exactly. I was just happy they gave it to him in the first place because
I was
well
too.
deserved and overdue.
I was too, but you know it was only a matter of time before someone like Cena won it back. So it was like, if you're not going to do anything with it, I am happy to know that he's gotten it, but it's like, do something with it.
Cena, was he the first person eliminated? I can't remember.
It was, I don't think he was. I think Baron Corbin was the first one to get eliminated, but then Cena, like, I think it was either Styles or the Miz came up from behind and, like, I think it was like the Miz who come up from behind to like a skull crushing finale on him and then pinned him.
Yeah.
But I think Corbin was the first to go.
Well, March.
March starts off with Fastlane.
And the old man got it done.
Yeah.
Bill Goldberg comes back to the company. We all saw it coming though. We already
Oh,
knew
yeah.
the plans.
Just don't get me wrong. We didn't. Everyone popped like hell, and we all marked out because it's like it's Goldberg. It's Goldberg.
I was just disappointed, even going back to last year with Survivor Series, and like everybody was indifferent about it. Like I heard other people that loved the fact that he beat Brock in what was it, a minute and 10 seconds or
Yeah, I
10
think
seconds or
so.
whatever it was. Everybody was indifferent about it. Like me and my girl was actually sitting watching the pay per view, and as soon as it happened, was like in shock as far as not in a good way, but in a horrible way, because you build up this anticipation for it and Goldberg coming back, and that's all we get. That right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at, and we'll get to it when we get to WrestleMania, but look at Brock and Goldberg, you know, this year. It was like it was like a 5-minute car crash, but it was the most glorious 5-minute car crash, but it was still a 5-minute car crash.
Yeah.
You know?
Bayley?
Also, yeah, Bayley won, which Bayley's another one where it's like he's kind of had a bad year.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like everything with Alexa Bliss and Bayley was just really bad. Oh, it was god awful bad.
People started dubbing her the female John Cena.
Cena. Yeah, I know.
But
Which I don't want to, but
Bayley
when you have matches like the kendo stick on a pole match, it's really hard to justify like, yeah, I know, Bayley, no, she was good. You just go back to NXT. No, guys, really, she was good.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the ones that fell victim to the fact that you're good in NXT, but on the main roster, you're not going to
Yeah.
succeed the same
Oh.
way.
And like, here's the thing. Everyone's biggest thing is like when a babyface isn't doing well, turn them heel. I don't like that mind frame because I still think you can still do baby faces, you know, without turning them heel.
Right.
You know, like Bayley was proving in NXT, you could still do. Even Johnny Gargano now is proving you can still do a baby face good. You know,
Yeah.
without okay, they suck, just turn them heel.
Right.
Oh,
Well, Ring of Honor, the 15th anniversary also happened in March, where we saw the fallen angel Christopher Daniels finally ascend to the top and defeated
oh,
Adam Cole for the Ring of Honor World Championship. What are your thoughts
about
on that?
damn time.
Yeah, I know, right?
About I love Christopher Daniels. I do. I think this man has earned, you know, earned to be ROH World Champion. You know, from his time in not only Ring of Honor but also his time in Impact. Like this dude is fucking great.
I agree,
Okay,
100%.
you know. So I was so happy once he finally won.
It was about a 25-year career, I believe. I think that's yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely over 20.
Hmm.
Yeah, you know. And against Adam Cole, who's also a really good. And so it's not like, oh well, he beat somebody who really wasn't that good. He beat Adam Cole, you know. So it's not like, oh well, I guess it's like you beat Adam Cole, man. Like you guys both walked away really good,
Yeah,
you know. Especially what happens with Adam Cole later on in the year,
yeah.
and then we're moving up to April, which starts with the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor.
Hmm. Um, Hardy Boys. See, I, I
That
didn't
was
I didn't originally see this match. I had to go back and watch it yesterday.
yeah. I hadn't originally seen it since it first premiered in April.
Mm.
So yeah, I had to go back and watch it, and it still blows my mind. I was reading a comment, and I kind of agree with it that it still blows my mind. Here it is, 20 plus years later. The Hardy Boys still amaze me with what they can do with a ladder.
Yeah, man, that's true. The one spot that got me was when Jeff was laid out on the table, and Matt had pushed the ladder over where I think Nick was climbing up, and he
Yeah.
was able to counter it because he was on one ladder. He went to the other ladder. The other ladder started falling over, and then he springboarded from the rope off into like a almost a 450 splash onto Jeff that was laying down on the table to the outside. That was
Oh,
awesome.
oh yeah. Oh, yeah. The Young Bucks are like the Young Bucks are just great.
Yeah,
They
so good.
really are. They have pretty much. They're one of the few teams like some of the people in WWE who are changing the face of tag team wrestling.
It was basically a passing of the torch to them.
It was, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Hardy Boys are still around, and like everyone's still going to give them props. But it's like here is the next generation
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Going on from that, NXT Takeover Orlando,
And
where
the title gets a new design.
all the titles got a new design, every
Yeah.
title. Um, and it was the last NXT pay per view before the call ups for Shinsuke, the Revival, and Ty Dillinger. Do you think? Do you think they pulled Nakamura out too fast?
Probably. I think they did. Yeah, I honestly do think they did because to me it's the same thing they kind of did with Bobby Roode. I think they pulled Roode too fast
Hmm.
because remember Roode just debuted at the beginning of this year and he's already called up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think they did pull Nakamura too fast because they wanted to get him to the main roster. But if you think about it, okay, they got him to the main roster, but then what did they do with him? They put him in a feud with Dolph Ziggler. This is Shinsuke fucking Nakamura, the dude who was headlining New Japan, who could have, if you had kept him, headline NXT for a while, but you're going to put him in a feud with Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
Get me wrong, Ziggler's a great worker, but it's like, you guys have problems there.
Yeah. This is the day and age that everybody's getting called up too fast. You think a couple years ago, like Balor spent at least a year, I believe, in NXT before he got called up.
Yeah,
Oscar's just now getting called up.
getting called up. And Asuka spent over 500 days as the
Yeah,
champion, you
exactly.
know?
But now it's like they're just trying to capitalize on success of the
No.
people that are down in NXT. But the thing is you're calling them up for what? Because you're not doing
You're calling
anything.
him up for mid card.
Exactly.
like, okay, it would be understand if you were calling people up, but you were kind of moving some of the people you already have on your roster, like they were retiring or they were going to like back down to NXT or over to 305 or to like a different brand, but they're still in the main roster. So you're just clustering the mid card, and you don't want to push them up towards the title picture because you have your title holders that you're kind of just protecting. People like Braun, people like Roman, you know, people like Styles, people like Brock, you know.
And I think
So,
that wrestlers would benefit if they did a reverse. If they started sending people from the main roster back down to NXT, I would say Dolph Ziggler and Bray Wyatt, and probably a couple other people would benefit from it to go reinvent themselves down in NXT again.
it's sad to say when one of the best things that come out of the cruiserweight once Neville left was adding Enzo as champion. It's sad. Like, yeah, sure, people think, well, that's a dumb move. Why would you add Enzo? Yeah, but it got people talking about the cruiserweights again.
Yeah.
No one was giving a shit about the cruiserweights. Then Enzo goes down there, flips to be a heel, you know, and yeah, people were kind of talking about it for a bit.
Yeah, because even though Enzo's supposed to be billed as a heel, he's still over with the crowd.
Yeah, you know, and that could have also been because of the shit he did behind the scenes, backstage.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't want to fucking fire his ass, but because he sold a shit ton of merch for them,
Yeah.
you know. So they're like, well, what do we do? Well, we can't fire him. Let's just send him to like 305 or NXT, you know.
Yeah. Well, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania 33. We saw the return of Kurt Angle and get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And now he's the Raw GM.
What did you think of this year's WrestleMania?
This year's WrestleMania wasn't that bad, man. I mean, the biggest pop.
I thought it was
The
okay.
Hardy Boys, like, but when I say literally, we jumped out of our seats.
Everybody did.
Out of our seats.
Everybody did. I had a friend who was at a party up in like Manassas, and because he went to go see it live at like a bar, and he pretty much told me when the Hardy Boys music hit, everybody in that bar just jumped out of their damn seats.
Yeah,
You know,
it was amazing.
it was especially amazing when you realize that they had just worked 2 other different shows before WrestleMania.
Exactly. That's what made it so surprising, because if you follow like the dirt sheets and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really reveal anything. Like, I knew that the Hardy Boys were facing like the Young Bucks the day before and stuff like that, and I
Yeah.
knew that they were working on a contract, but I didn't think they were going to do it that soon.
No.
It was just a whole big nostalgia pop. Unfortunately for people like the club and
Yeah.
and stuff that had to suffer because of it, but hey, I don't know.
But I mean, they suffered for it at the time. But the thing about the club and the bar is they were so good they could kind of still rebound off of it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, yeah, the Hardys debuted, but that's cool. There's just another team to throw us into the mix so we can have a shot at them.
maybe not so much the club as the bar. The bar is
No.
fine, but the club, oh my gosh, talk about a fall from grace. Jeez.
Oh god, what the fuck have you club? I'm still regretting that they never did go through with their own version of Balor Club. Because like you had it really good in a moment before Balor got traded, to where you could have done something with him and Andrews and Gallows. Even when they were with AJ Styles, that was some of their best work because they worked so well with each other.
Yep. I don't know, man. Well,
But besides that, you've got Rollins fighting Triple H, which earned the name the Kingslayer, which I wish they would stop calling him the Kingslayer, because honestly, he hasn't done anything recently to earn that title, you know?
yeah,
Because it's not like he slayed Triple H, that's cool, he came back 3 months later, you know? The car crash of Brock versus Goldberg, and then ending the show with Reigns versus The Undertaker. Uh, my honest thoughts is Taker should have retired years ago. Um, I don't. I understand why they chose to end the show on that, especially with the ending of that match. But in my opinion, first of all, he should be fucking retired. Like, you left your shit at the gear. Stop trying to hint him of the 25th anniversary. Taker's going to come back. Taker might come back at WrestleMania. No, he left his damn gear in the ring. Retire the man. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he will be at the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
already shown all that.
I know, but don't have it be so you can announce a match for WrestleMania. You know?
Right.
Don't.
That was a perfect ending. They need to just leave it alone. Taker needs to ride off to the sunset as the last outlaw.
In my opinion, Taker should have retired. Not when the streak ended. Okay, like if the if that moment had proven anything on just how beat he was to he needed help getting back to the locker room, that should have definitely been a sign of you need to retire. I think he should have retired at the end of the era match with him versus Triple H with Shawn Michaels as a referee inside Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
That's when I think he should have retired because that whole match was supposed to represent this is the end of an old era. You know,
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
that's when he should have retired.
Yeah.
You know, the streak still could have been the streak. We wouldn't have to worry about, oh, the streak would have been broken. And it would have been a glorious send off to these two other contenders. Of course, you know, Triple H is going to have to come back, but Michaels is like permanently retired. You know?
On a side note, what do you think about WWE cutting budget with pyro and all that stuff? Because at WrestleMania is when they introduced all the like the video techniques of the floor and all that type of stuff like that on the stage.
Oh, man. Okay, so I understand the pyro, although I still miss it because there's still a part of me that grew up with the pyro, so I miss the pyro.
Right.
But about the whole videocentrics, I hate that because that ruined the fucking Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton match.
It was
Like, I
something
couldn't
something
take that match
because
seriously because they would do, like, the video graphics of, like, the cockroaches or whatnot just to prove Bray Wyatt is a creepy character.
yeah.
I'm like, guys, I can't take this. It's WrestleMania.
It was
Like,
very
I'm
very
okay if you
cheesy.
do this on, like, a pay-per-view, even a B-class pay-per-view, but don't do it at WrestleMania.
Right. It was very cheesy. It was different. I mean, I give them. It was innovative. It was different, but
It
still,
was innovative and cheesy, but it took you out of the match.
exactly.
You
Because like
know?
every maybe 5 minutes they would do that overhead shot and just show the
Yeah.
projector on the ring.
Yeah.
So
Look at Bray Wyatt. He can summon bugs. Can he actually summon bugs? No, he can't. Well, then don't show it.
right, it'd have been better if they'd actually like poured cockroaches or something into the
I
ring or
mean, they
something.
did. If they did like what they did with like the Boogeyman, where he actually pulled out like a bag of worms, that would have been okay, cool. You know? Oh, but I know that just ruined the match for me.
Moving further into the month of April, New Japan had another pay per view, Sakura Genesis, where
Uh huh.
Okada defeated Shibata to retain the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now, I went back and watched this match as well. Now, this is the match that Shibata actually injured himself to the point
Yeah.
where apparently he cannot wrestle anymore.
No, he can't. This was his career-ending match.
Yeah. Um,
It was a
Match
good. It
was
was a
great.
really good, and it was because I had to rewatch it too, and it was hard for me to find where the bump was that caused him to land on his head. Where what the headbutt was that caused it.
It was the one actually right after. It was towards the end of the match where they were exchanging blows, and I believe Okada had hit him with a rainmaker, and he just ate it like it was nothing, and then he went back and headbutted him, and Okada
Yeah,
dropped down to the mat, and then after that, you saw the trickle of blood start coming down his face.
yeah, that was probably it. Um, Though I will say, being that it is his career-ending match, it was a great match.
Yes, it was a great match.
It was a great match. Like I said, anything Okada has pretty much been in this year, it's been really fucking good.
Yeah.
But it does suck that it ended the guy's match because he was. You could tell him by the one match that he was building up into something that would have been truly great.
All right. Yeah. Unfortunately, these things happen, man.
Yeah, especially in New Japan.
Yeah. It's hard hitting as they are over there.
Yeah, with like the way they throw exploder suplexes like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
You got to feel for them with all the neck damage and stuff, and
Oh
literally
yeah.
like just kicking you in the back. Of the head. Like Shibata at one point had licked his hand and smacked the crap out of the back of Okada's
Oh
head
yeah.
in the match. I was
Yeah,
like,
like
please.
like you think Nakamura's King Sasha's are bad in WWE? They were nothing compared to how he did it in New Japan.
Uh-huh.
Like this dude would just set people up and then just Kinshasa them in the corner like 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at like twice the speed.
Yeah, so most definitely for you guys that have never watched any New Japan content, you definitely need to.
Yeah, you need to, man. And you don't even have to like go to newjapan.com. There's always like free matches on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
But Payback was
And then just
also.
ending out the match was then just ending out the month was Payback.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, like you said, the only thing I really remember that was with the stuff with Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Became the first woman to hold both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships.
Yeah.
Really
So
big for her. What do you feel? How do you feel about Alexa Bliss?
I like her now at the end of the year than I did at the beginning of the year. Like gradually as the year has gone on and the more promo work she's done, I'm generally becoming more okay. I'm liking her. I'm liking her as kind of a heel. Like her whole promo with Mickey James was great. I liked her promo with Mickey James. You know, because you generally got to feel kind of the person she was with. You know, her whole deal with Tamina as kind of like, oh wait, was it Tamina or Nia Jax? I'm trying to remember.
Nia Jax.
Yeah, it was Nia Jax. About are they frenemies? Are they frenemies or what? You know. So I'm liking Alexa as champion. I think she's gonna lose. She's gonna lose it because it's only a matter of time before Asuka pretty much takes that belt. And you know, once Asuka gets that belt, they're pretty much gonna keep it on her for a while.
Another side note: why do you think WWE has not taken a chance on making Nia Jax the face of the women's division?
I don't really know. I don't because Nia Jax is a good worker. Um, See, I can't really answer you that question because I can't really think of a legitimate reason on why they haven't done it yet. It does make sense of why they're doing it of if they do it, you know, because Nia Jax will be a really good champion. Um, but I think honestly they would save it for someone like Charlotte Flair or Alexa, you know, someone who they know who's had multiple champion runs, and they know that okay, if we're going to say this is our face, you know, people will kind of recognize it, you know.
um, I don't really know why either. They've had plenty of opportunities. My
They
thing
have
is when they kind of damaged her character in certain points. Like if you're gonna make her a monster heel,
make her a monster heel.
yeah, exactly. Like she shouldn't be tapping out to Sasha Banks. She shouldn't be losing cleanly to Bailey
Oh,
Page
Sasha
and stuff like
Banks,
that.
honey, what have they? Speaking of Sasha Banks,
Mm,
honey, what have they done to you? I feel bad, Sasha. I really do, because she's someone who you could honestly say, okay, if you want to make Sasha Banks the face of the women's division, I'd be totally down for it.
mm,
Okay, but I'm like many people, am tired of every time you give Sasha the belt. The running joke is, okay, T minus on how short do you think she's going to have it this time?
right.
You know?
I don't get that either. That's crazy. They started that
No.
mess way back with her and Charlotte swapping belt back and
Yeah.
forth.
Like that was the good thing on why Charlotte. I'm happy that Charlotte got traded because now you don't have to worry about them keeping swapping the belts while the rest of the women are just fumbling trying to get it. Also, we could just save it up for when Asuka finally comes up and just takes it and holds on to it.
Hmm. Because
Yeah.
it's eventually going to happen.
Oh yeah,
Whether
it is. They're
I don't know the format right now, what they're doing for the women's Royal Rumble, whether or not everybody's going to be involved, or are they actually going to do it like the men's, where the
I
winner
don't
gets a shot.
know, but see because my money's on Asuka winning
Hmm.
because even if she doesn't, her definitely be in final three because they've kind of built her up on it's only a matter of time before they put the belt on her because if you look at the Survivor series how she was the last woman standing, it's like, oh, it's only a matter like even if they don't put the belt on her right away, it's only a matter of time.
All right,
you know
really quick, who's going to end the streak?
I have no idea.
It's hard to say.
It really is hard to say.
It all depends on who they want to build up. Because honestly, I could see them letting Alexa beat
It
Oscar.
it also depends on how they execute it. Because if they do it a bullshit way, like she does like a dirty roll up or something, to where that's how she broke the streak. No, I'm gonna be pissed as hell.
All right.
You know, like you have to earn beating the streak. Like with Brock beating Taker, it was this was after years and years they kind of went down a line of people who were like, do you want to break the streak this year, do you want to break the streak this year? And Brock was finally like, yeah, I'm Brock fucking Lesnar, I want to break the damn streak. you know that's what I do.
Still don't agree with that, but that's another argument for another day.
I don't either, but that's why my argument is he should have just retired at the end of the era match.
Right.
you know
And moving on to the month of May, we had NXT Takeover Chicago, one of probably the best NXT takeovers they've had in a long time.
yeah, the only one I think this year that can rival it is War Games.
War Games, yeah,
Yeah.
War Games is pretty awesome too.
War Games, I think, is the only thing that can rival it. Uh, Huge standout of Chicago was Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bates.
Yes, it was. That was an awesome match, man. One of the match of the year candidates, actually.
Damn straight it is. It actually made the fans chant UK.
Hmm.
And anytime you can get that, you can get them to do that. Okay, we've done our job.
Right. The
You
Chicago
know.
fans are always on fire anyway, as it is.
Oh yeah,
So
because
it was
Chicago fans are like, it's Chicago, New York, and I'm trying to remember the third place where it's pretty much the Snark City.
Philadelphia.
So it's not filled with like your casual fans. It's the people who are like us. We read like behind the inside ropes and whatnot.
Right.
So we're always going to have like when Roman comes out, it's an automatic boo, or you're going to get the Punk chants. Which I'm tired of the Punk chants.
That's always, especially in Chicago, that's always going to
Yeah,
happen. There's no
I'm
question.
tired of the Punk chants in Chicago because he's never going to come back. You know.
But yeah, so Pete Dunne captured the title there by hitting the dang, what is the name of his finishing move? Bitter end, the bitter end.
Yeah, the bitter end on the outside,
Um,
and
it
then
was a back and forth, nice pace match too. It just
yeah, it
seemed
was.
Tyler just uh,
Yeah, Tyler went for I think it was a moonsault off the back end, which out the outside, which missed. Dunn capitalized that and then just bitter ended it him in the middle of the ring.
mhm. But this is the they need to have a rubber match. I don't know when it's going to happen though, because
Yeah,
Bate won the first match to initially win the championship, and then Dunn won this one. So they have to have a rubber match somewhere down the road.
they do too. Uh, it's weird because it's like Pete Dunne is kind of like all over the place. Like he's kind of at NXT and he's kind of not at. He might be on Raw every now and then, or he might be at like the cruiserweights every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's the same kind of with Tyler Bates. Is they're kind of like all over the place. So they were talking about doing a second UK championship, and honestly, if they do that, that might be where they do the rematch.
Maybe.
You know.
And man, the NXT Tag Team Championship was on the line as the Authors of Pain took on DIY in a ladder match. Your thoughts?
Uh, that ending. Oh boy, that ending. Where you think the show's over. The show ain't over yet.
They even had the little
Oh yeah,
trademark symbol in the
they
corner and
faked
everything.
everybody out. They're like, all right, Takeover was great. This is an amazing pay per view. Wait, what?
Yeah. That,
But besides that, the actual match itself was a great match.
yes, it was.
You know, like
They
anytime
really-
DIY Authors of Pain are kind of in a tag team match, they're fucking amazing.
They really told a story in that match. They really
Oh,
did.
yeah.
From Gargano sacrificing himself to help Ciampa when he took that ladder straight to the face. That was
Oh, yeah.
brutal, by the way. Oh gosh.
I was honestly surprised he didn't get busted open.
Yeah. Or knocked out. Or
Really
something.
was.
'Cause that was a brutal shot from Ciampa taking I can't remember if it was Akam or Razor off the ladder into that German suplex into the other ladder that broke,
I think it was Razor.
and then the double. No, that wasn't that one, was it? I don't know. I didn't go back and watch that one, but I just knew most of it. Everything
Oh yeah,
that happened.
it's a great match. It's proving that NXT, when it comes to tag teams, are pretty much the place to go to watch tag team wrestling. Like you'll have like the New Day and the Usos on SmackDown, and they're really good. But if you want to get like really good tag team wrestling, you watch NXT.
Yeah. Most
You know?
definitely.
And then
But
Backlash. All right, let's just admit it. The gender experiment failed spectacularly.
do you think anything else would have happened with it?
I'm still trying to. I'm still baffled on the fact that they even tried to attempt it in the first place.
Hey man, there's a million other ways that they could have approached this. But shooting him
Yeah.
straight up to the title when the following year
He was
Not
the
even
worst
mid-card.
part of 3MB.
3MB,
The
exactly.
worst part. The absolute worst part.
it was for anything, it was shock value.
Oh yeah.
I was
Like, I would have. Here's the thing. I would have taken Randy Orton to be the champion because that means we would have gotten more heel Randy Orton, which heel Randy Orton is really good.
really
Yes, it's the same, but you could have led it into something else, like a title shot with like Nakamura or Styles, you know?
exactly. But Vince cares more about money than fans. I don't care what you say; it's always going to be that way.
Oh yeah, God. Oh, don't get it twisted. We don't have the final word. Vince has the final word in the end.
Exactly.
You know. And the whole thing about the whole reason behind it, the whole reason they found it was like, oh, because they wanted to build that market in India. And when you get much comments and people coming out like, dude, I'm from India and I don't like gender, you know? Like, even I'm from India and I can say, this was a bad move,
Right.
you know?
Like,
But just everything they did after fucking Jinder was pairing him with the Singh brothers, having him win the same way over and over and over again.
I would have actually have done first what they may do now with the United States Championship. I would have put the United States title on him first and made him a dominant United States champion. If Vince really wants to go for that whole anti-American thing, that's what you should have done in the first place. It would have been more believable.
I don't want Jinder to be the United States title because then we got to get more shitty ass Jinder Mahal United States title promos about the same thing. He's going to try to do what Kevin Owens did as his Face of America run. Except the thing is, Kevin Owens' Face of America run was actually good.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen the foreign heel carry the American gold before. You know.
That's Vince's mentality. You know he's still living way back in the 80s.
Yeah, I know. Oh God.
Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter. I think that's his like. if he has a wall of blueprints on how to make a champion or how to
Oh yeah,
have this
oh
and
yeah.
this
If he
swap
has
thing,
a wall of blueprints on how to do foreign heels, you just go to immediately to Iron Sheik.
uh,
You know, the Iron Sheik worked. Yeah, Vince, he worked in the '80s.
exactly. But moving on from that, the month of June brought us Extreme Rules. The
Um,
Bar defeated the Hardys in that steel cage match. This is for me is when they kind of came into as the dominant heel champions that
yeah.
they were.
Um, I will say this. I did like the build up with Sheamus and Cesaro at first
Mm-hmm.
of them not of them keep butting heads as tag team partners. Like I like that actually. Like my favorite moment of them when they were still building as a tag team was that scene in the bar where they tried to catch a drink and they just started a bar fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, that's cheesy, but I like it. You know, it's that got that certain type of cheese. You know,
Yeah, entertaining.
it was entertaining. That and it looked like something that would come straight out of an Uncharted game. I'm like, okay, all right, I can appreciate that.
Right. And
Um,
then later on that night, Samoa Joe won that fatal five way that they had for a shot at Brock Lesnar.
First of all, I hate Fatal Five Ways. I do.
Mm.
I hate that. I hate them so much.
Didn't
I'd
it
rather
seem
stick
like
with.
there was like maybe 20 fatal five way matches that they had this year? It was a lot.
Yes, I hate Fatal Five Ways. I really do because it's like I can understand. Okay, Fatal Four Ways. They're hectic, but they're still somehow like manageable. Fatal Five Ways. It's just I don't even know anymore, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just spot. It's just an excuse for the match to be a spot fest.
Hmm.
You know.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Which on later note, what do you think about Joe's run in 2017?
Well, Joe was out a lot.
Yeah, he was.
We didn't see Joe come back until I think it was like
It was on a
Raw
Raw. I'm
after
trying to remember what
WrestleMania
Raw it
or was
was.
it the Raw after one of the other pay per views? I can't remember.
No, it was. It's the Raw. It was one of the Raws building up to Survivor Series because I know the whole reason that when Joe came back, it was when Alicia Fox was still building up members for the Smack for the Raw's Women title,
Yeah.
and literally as she's getting Nia Jax, Joe comes out, which was great. I wish they would do more of that.
Yeah.
Like as the wrestlers are still leaving, have someone else come out and interrupt them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So I think it was after the Lesnar match where I think he had got injured and he had to be out for that long.
Yeah.
So he looked dominant in
The
the Fatal
whole
Five
his
Way
whole
match.
build up with Brock was great.
It was awesome, especially the fact that he did the segment with Paul Heyman and choked Paul
Oh,
Heyman out.
The Paul Heyman segment was great, and then literally within like a week or two later, he chokes out Brock
Brock on the stage.
on the stage. It's like, okay, that is how you build up a monstrous threat to Lesnar.
Exactly.
You have him pretty much go up to Paul Heyman and it's like, look, I'm gonna tell you exactly what's going to happen, and you're not gonna do anything about it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like this is why honestly Joe is one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE right now.
Right.
You know?
Unfortunately, if it wasn't for the injury, I think Joe probably maybe. Well, then again, I can't say. As a
No.
wrestling fan, we can dream, but maybe
We
he
can
would've
Joe
been-
might have won, but they
Yeah.
here's the thing, we thought that about Braun, but they kept the title on Lesnar because the main event for next year's WrestleMania is Reigns versus Brock. Oh boy. You can tell I'm not happy about that.
I don't think anybody's happy about that.
No,
You booked
because
this
and
match like
no, and I know what they're trying to,
fans.
and I know the whole reason they want to do Reigns versus Brock is because it's to personify Reigns as being the top babyface of the company. Okay, because Reigns is going to be the one who kicks out of the F5. Because if you've noticed what they've been doing with the F5 is they've been trying to build it up as this one-stop end-all move. You know. That way, it's going to be like a huge shocker at WrestleMania when Reigns kicks out of it.
Yep.
You know?
Unfortunately. They did that with Orton's RKO too, though.
Yeah, that's what it did. Yeah, they did the same with Orton's RKO. They tried to build it up as like this. It just ends everything.
It only takes one, as JBL always had to state.
I kind of miss JBL. I do. His commentary was just great. Ball game. See, Michael, you either win them or you lose them, but most of the time you win them. That's what makes the champion. And then following up Extreme Rules, New Japan had a pay-per-view,
Yep. Dominion.
Dominion.
Didn't really watch the Young Bucks capture the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship.
Let's be honest, a lot of people didn't because the main event pretty much just stole the wrestling world.
Right.
You know?
But Okada Omega 2 ended in a draw, which at first I was thinking this would probably be my match of the year candidate, but after watching the first one again, you can't capture that glory twice in a row.
For me, this is where you and I differ. For me, Okada versus Omega 2 is my match of the year candidate. Because to me, I think the storytelling in Okada versus Omega 2 is better. And the moment that stole it for me was when Cody came down to the ring and tried to throw in the towel. And the Young Bucks ended up stopping him of the whole thing. And him finally landing the one-winged angel on Okada.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it was an excellent match.
Yeah. But yeah, this is where you and I disagree. We both agree that Okada and Omega pretty much are match of the year. I just think his second one's better than his first. Right. I'm not knocking the first one. I still love the first one. I think the second one is just, in my opinion, just a little bit better.
Well, yeah, even Dave Meltzer had to give the second one. I think
he gave it 6.5. He gave it 6 1/4. So. And then it's so weird because literally following one of the greatest matches ever, you go straight to WWE and their Money in the Bank, which is one of the worst pay-per-views of 2017 in any company. Any.
I didn't mind Carmella winning. It's just the way that she won.
Yeah. See, I think that's what pisses off a lot of people. We don't mind the fact that Carmella won. It's just how they won. I mean, it was so badly hated. They literally that SmackDown had to change the decision because it was like, we're not going to be known that the first ever women's battle royal, women's Money in the Bank, was won by James Ellsworth. Think about it. In history books, the first ever women's battle back, you want to say battle royal, women's Money in the Bank was won by James Ellsworth.
To me, it was kind of a throwback to Harvey Whippleman when he won the women's championship. In the Attitude Era.
I love that. I love his whole scene of him just pretty much taking it off and then just gently plopping it down onto Carmella.
Right. I don't know. WWE is crazy. It's funny.
It's just, oh god. And then even to the men's, which was better than the women's.
Yeah.
But that wasn't saying much. To having Baron Corbin win and then nothing happening with it. Him being one of the 3 men in history to waste the Money in the Bank.
Heck, the match started off with Baron Corbin attacking Nakamura doing his entrance.
I feel so bad for Nakamura this year, man. He gets attacked before the match started, put in shitty promos. And I thought, okay, teaming him up with Randy Orton, all right, even if it's just to fight Zayn versus Owens, you might be doing something with him. No. If SmackDown threw anything, Orton's back to, I need to focus purely on myself. And it's just, damn it!
I even think Orton is probably going to take some time off eventually.
I think so too. I mean, the guy deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the man doesn't deserve it. I'd be okay with Orton taking some time off. The man, you've beyond earned your time off, dude.
Right.
You know.
Well, later on in in the month, Ring of Honor had their Best in the World pay-per-view where Cody, American Nightmare, finally ascended to the top and beat Christopher Daniels for the Ring of Honor World Championship.
What do you think about Cody Rhodes?
I always knew Cody had potential.
I did too. You could always tell that, pretty much like Dolph Ziggler, which we'll get to later on. WWE, he was one of like the few people WWE had no idea what the hell to do with. I'm not in the Cody Rhodes bandwagon, as a lot of people are. I think he's definitely doing. He's definitely proven that he was much better used than what WWE ever had for him planned. But I'm not fully there yet. You know, like I'm not like, oh man, Cody, dude, y'all, you gotta watch Cody Rhodes. He's doing some amazing shit. Like I'm not fully there yet, but I am slowly getting there.
He really showed himself doing his promos. Like his promos have greatly improved.
Yeah. But the problem with Cody Rhodes is that Cody Rhodes is kind of that lightning in a bottle, because everyone's kind of thinking that, oh, if people leave WWE, they'll automatically do better. Not really. You know, Cody just kind of got lucky, you know, with like he was already really good and like proven he had already kind of, you were vastly underusing him. You know, Span's whole thing is, well, they're not using a lot of these mid-cards, so why don't they just go to like the independent scene? They'll get a lot better. Like, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
You know? Like, instead of Cody, look at another example like in TNA with Lashley. I enjoyed Lashley more in TNA than I did in WWE.
Yeah, I can agree
you know?
with that one, most definitely.
Because in WWE, it proved they rushed Lashley way too fast up to the top. You know? In TNA, he's kind of slowly but surely started building himself in promos and ring work and character and whatnot, to where, yeah, now I truly do feel like, okay, he's now a force to be reckoned with.
Right. I know one of my boys definitely wants to see a Lashley-Lesnar match at a WrestleMania.
I don't know how I feel about that. My biggest fear is that if Lashley ever did come back to WWE, they would do the same thing they did with him back in 06 and 08 and rush him up to the top. Like, that's the same thing. Like, people want Ethan Carter III to come to WWE. I don't think they're going to know what the fuck to do with Ethan Carter III. I think they're going to give him like a stupid-ass gimmick or something, and then what they've clearly done with a lot of their calls from NXT, rushed him to the main roster to do absolutely nothing.
They didn't even know what to do with him the first time he was in NXT.
No.
As I think his name was Tyler Bateman or something like that.
No, they had no idea what to do. Now that he's gone over to TNA and proven himself that, hey, he's actually really good. People like him a lot, you know?
But that's what happens when you let decent, pretty good talent go away and they make a name for themselves. Now all of a sudden you want them back.
Yeah, and when you waste or, you know, rush talent that's not that good. I will get to that when we get to the Riot Squad, because I have opinions on them.